Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of And Now You Know with Bette and Julz. I'm Bette.
And I'm Julz.
And today we're going to have a conversation that we definitely want to hear your feedback on this. But this is about blending families and all of the fun things that come along with that. So she's going to kick this off because she has actually blended families.
I have really only attempted to blend one time. No, I have blended one time, and that was with Jay. And it is, I mean, I had children, but my partner did not have children. So there was no additional children. I mean, we were blending families because of the kids. But when I talk about really blending, I'm talking about putting all the kids together. And here's the truth. You cannot rush this.
Yeah.
You have to go through the necessary, I'm not even going to say steps, but the time that it needs. And, you know, Jay and I dated almost 4 years before we got married. And Dr. Phil had a whole episode on blending families, and he said it takes around 8 years for a family to blend.
So
we've been together 13 years.
Yeah. And when would you say it all kind of just clicked and like fell into place?
I don't know. That's the part about it, is that you just give it the time and the love and the ingredients that make a home and a family. I mean, you've got to put a lot of patience, a lot of grace, a lot of understanding, and it's hard to. You have to be careful. You can't show favoritism with your children over theirs. And once you get it to a place, then, I mean, for me, I love Jay so much that it's easy to love his children. Even though
it might not always be
even
that way.
though they're like my children.
I don't mean for Jay. I meant for other people.
Well, yeah, they're not always lovable, and I don't know. You've got to give your partner time, and you need to observe how they are treating your kids and make sure that they're not making your kids feel like outcasts. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I forgot to set the timer, so I'm just going to look at that. I've seen a situation where a woman was dating a man and the man wanted absolutely nothing to do with her kids.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Now, if I was dating a guy who said your kids can't come to the house, or we're gonna put our lives together, but I'm not leaving anything for your children.
Well, first of all,
I would have to say goodbye.
Yes, absolutely.
See ya.
So I'm going to chime in here. I have not had the blending situation happen yet. However, I do have 2 teenagers. So at some point it will happen, and I will then, I'll be observing for that. But to be honest, any woman or any dad,
anybody,
whatever, any parent that would allow an outsider to come in and create already such a division between you and your children, I hope to God that right there is the red flag that would make you say, hell no, you're out. I hope so.
It's so damaging to the kids.
Yeah,
honestly.
That would be absolutely horrible.
It's a form of abandonment, and it has no place in your life. I get it. You may be thinking that you're in love with this guy and all of that, but if it's at the expense of God gave you stewardship over your kids, and that takes precedence over a new relationship coming in. Mm-hmm. Now, I believe that in a marriage, God comes first, then your partner, and then your children. But if it's in that order, you and your partner are one, and you're taking care of the kids together.
Well, so this is where the whole equally yoked thing comes in. Yeah. Because if you have a partner that wants nothing to do with your children, then that's not your person.
Yeah.
So I actually do believe in the order of what she just said. I do think, so this is where some people do get it, whether it's a marriage with your children or a blended family, I do believe that, after God. I do believe that husband and wife have to come first for
Yeah.
each other. That doesn't mean you abandon and neglect your children.
No.
But I do believe that that is the example that should be like shown, right, to the household, to all of the children involved. Your kids, whether they're biologically yours or not, they're in this household and they are looking at this picture of the parents, right? I absolutely think that it is, and if you disagree,
this is
have
where
at it. Let's
this
talk
is
about
where
it.
we want to talk about
Let's
it.
talk about it, because I think that when you start putting the children above the relationship, and I mean the marriage. I
Right.
mean that I'm not talking about your boyfriend over
No,
there.
I'm
talking about the marriage, the commitment, the husband, whether it is their biological father or not, the relationship, the marriage. I think that when you start putting the kids in front of that starts to create some distance in the relationship. And I think that is not the right way to go. And at the end of the day, all of those kids, it is your job to help them become productive citizens in the world and to help them become kind humans. And if you, and by the way, they're supposed to leave you at some point.
Right.
So if you have set aside your relationship, put it on the back burner, not paying attention to your spouse, because you're devoting all your time to these kids, and then they leave, and now you're an empty nester, and now you're looking at each other like, who is that?
Yep.
I don't know him or her. That's because you didn't put yourself first. And I'm going to give a shout out. I'm not going to say his name, but you know who I'm talking about. I'm going to give a shout out. Actually, we both know him really well. And he is a friend of mine who we worked together at a previous company, and he is married, and he has a blended family. And the way that he talks about his wife and the way that they prioritize each other, I love how they're constantly talking about, they've been together for over 15 years now, and I think they have, I want to say 5 or 6 kids in their house, right? So
Combined,
a lot of stuff going on.
I don't know who that is.
Well, I'll tell you in a second. But a lot of kids combined. But they prioritize the relationship. They make sure they still have date nights. They make sure that they are still focused on their communication, helping each child, do whatever it is that they need to do and like come into their own, because they still need time and attention too, right? But at the same time, that relationship, that partnership, that communication is a priority.
I think
that's so important.
I think that is what has helped Jay and I, because we knew early in our relationship that we wanted to be together. Now, we didn't rush into living together, but we did start mixing the pot, and we have 5 children together, which is a Brady Bunch situation. And it took time. I mean, I'm only going to speak for Jay. I'm teasing. I'm going to speak for me too. But I've never seen a man have so much kindness and generosity. And like, at first I thought, this can't be real, because he shows up. And that's what's important. I've got a friend that is going through a really difficult time. They're in a blended family situation. We went and had a glass of wine the other night. I was picking up a vibe without even knowing anything about it, but I was feeling something, and so I just reached out to her and I said, "Hey, is everything okay?" And it is not okay. And there's conflict between her husband and one of her kids, and it's at the point now where there's a protection order in place. So the husband is asking her if she wants him to leave. And I don't suggest it, but on the flip side of that, I told her he has got to show up. The best thing he could do now, I mean, they've got his kids, her kids, and they have their kids, so they've got their own. Which is
a whole other level.
He has got to stick. He's got to stay, because that's the only way these kids are going to see what a real man is. He's got to represent men. We need strong men to help us raise this next generation up to be the strong men. We've got a problem in the man department around here. And a lot of it has to do with this power chick, boss babe mentality. And the roles have gotten all skewed. And men need to stay. And they need to stay not just as a bump on a log, but as an active. My youngest son, I have no idea why Jay stayed with me, with what my youngest son put us through. But Jay showed up for him.
Yeah.
And everything he did to help my youngest son has had such a deep impact on who he has become and is becoming. And I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, if you only knew, if you only knew all the things.
Well,
but what,
I always say this, just look at my hair. And if you can zoom in and see my wrinkles, you did what? I mean, and Jay was there.
Yeah. What I love about Jay is that, I mean, they lived it day in and day out.
Yeah.
I was an observer from the outside, but knowing everything that I know about Julz and the story and the kids and Jay, man, I think that her boys are so lucky to have Jay.
They are.
I think it's so amazing. He is such a great man.
He is.
And you know, what you hope for, what I hope for me, you know, and really any other single girl who is interested in remarrying, right?
Yeah.
You want a man who is going to show up. You want a man who is going to pour into these children that they are, you know, a bonus parent to. You want a man, you know, you want a man to, you know, actually care about who they are, who they're becoming, what direction they're going towards in life, and like really want to actively participate in that. Because if you're dating a guy who really can't be bothered, like absolutely not.
No, because you're going to be a single mom married to a guy that you have a relationship with and y'all aren't participating together. I mean, Jay and I literally laugh all the time and say that we're going to put a revolving door in because with our kids, it's like one is going out that we just helped with a problem and one's coming in. And it's just a constant revolving door. And if you think that when your kids turn 18 that they're leaving, they're not. They come back, then they leave again, then they come back, and then they leave again, then they come back. And that's just the way that it is. But partner yourself up with someone. I mean, my kids are the most important humans in my life, including my stepdaughters. There's nothing that I wouldn't do for them. Now that had to evolve into a place of huge respect and for them and me, you know, because I'm a let's be best friends right off the bat kind of a person. And I can come on too strong sometimes. And I hadn't done that before. And so there have been some very difficult nights and that have led to me drinking and smoking out on the patio by myself.
And I have been there as her witness.
And I'm like, I'll quit smoking, quit drinking, and then one of these kids will do something, and I'm just like, I'll leave the house without my phone and take off and go buy a bottle of wine and cigarettes. It's been I don't smoke anymore, so I'm not encouraging that, but it was a battle that I fought, and I had to learn that just because something got stressful, I didn't get to go smoke.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, since I haven't had exactly that experience, but I will say from all that I have learned from observing, this is exactly why I won't date anybody that doesn't have kids.
Right.
Because I will tell you, not only from, there is, I think, such a disconnect. Now, there are some people, like if you're still interested in having kids, if you're dating somebody that doesn't have kids, but you want to add children, I think that's doable because that's what you did.
Yeah.
Like, that is doable and that's okay. But if you're at my stage of life and there will not be any new kids.
That was my stage of life when Jay and I met.
If you don't have any kids,
right.
If you don't have any kids and there is no talk of adding kids to the family, I feel like we are at two different wavelengths. We're living two different lives because I am asking essentially a person to become an instant parent and to completely change the way they think so that they can be actively participating in my children's lives,
Yeah.
but they've never had to do it before. And they may not want to do that. Well, this is where you have to figure out, do your beliefs and values align? Because if somebody is not interested in being a parent, even if that is a bonus parent, even if, whatever you want to call it, step parent, bonus parent, even if it is just a person of influence, you have to think about this. This person is going to be living with you under the same roof. They are going to make some kind of an influence, right? Some kind of an impact on your children's lives. And depending on the age, that might be even more significant too. If they're, more younger, more impressionable from 0 to 7, whatever. If that person is not at all interested in showing up and participating, I feel like that right there should be 100% your deal breaker. But in the event that this person, for me, if they don't have kids, I don't think I want to date them and find out. Because if they don't already have, they don't have any experience as a parent, I don't know how they would show up. I don't know if they're interested. And if the going gets tough and they've never done it before, you never know. You never know. So for me, I'm at the stage of life and my kids are at certain ages where I feel like I'm not interested in taking that gamble.
Well, and I can tell you from the kids' perspective, because when I was in high school, my mother married my stepdad, and he didn't have any children. And their biggest headbutting situations were always about me and my sister.
Yep. And that is another reason why I say what I say.
He would get mad over back then, long time ago, back in the good old days. We had long distance bills, and Mother worked. Mother did great financially, but he would get mad at how much the long distance bill was because she lived in Amarillo, we lived in Dallas, but we talked every single day. And then just the time that she would take off to come and see us. Even when we would go there, he would be good for a couple of days and then become very passive aggressive and make us feel like we weren't welcome. And you need to understand, this place that we went was the home that my biological father built. It was the house that my parents lived in when they brought me home from the hospital after being born.
And that's the one that he moved into.
That's the one that he moved into. And
then you didn't feel welcome there.
Right.
Yeah.
But I am a very strong-willed individual, so I would buck up and tell him, maybe you should leave because I'm staying like 3 more days, and you go in there and sit in your recliner and watch baseball or bowling or whatever it is that's got a ball, because that's the only thing you're really interested in, and leave us alone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have enough of my mother and my grandmother in me to say, go soak your head in a bucket of water and get over yourself. I'm not going. You're not going to get rid of me. So... And I liked my stepdad. But I was a strong, ballsy girl.
Yeah.
Also. But then on the flip side of it, I was in a marriage that required my 2 children that weren't biologically his to have to go through severe counseling and therapy afterwards. And they're still damaged from it because they were... Just take this very seriously. It'd be better to be alone than to be with someone who's going to mistreat your children.
Right.
Or mistreat you in front of your children.
Yep.
I've got a friend of mine, and I won't mention her name, but she got a divorce, I think, when her son was about 5. And she started dating a guy. And she always said that she wouldn't marry him until her son graduated from high school because she didn't want somebody to have any say in how she wanted to raise her son. And that is a great idea. Mm-hmm. Because...
I mean, she waited a long... And they did get married.
She
waited
get married.
A long
He did
time.
too.
Yeah.
You've got to figure it out, but don't put your kids or even a relationship that you consider to be very relevant in a position to where one destroys the other.
Right.
But in that situation, your kids have to take first place. And just, again, it's like every single time we do one of these, I say I'm speaking from a place of experience. If I could go back and clear that one thing up, I would change that. Mm-hmm. but then I wouldn't have one of my kids.
Right, right.
And so
Well,
would
so there's
we don't
right.
know. Would you change it? I don't know. I don't know, because I want this kid that has shown me that people can change.
Yeah. He has been such a really, I mean, to watch it, to see, and to like talk about him now after hearing about all of the experiences that happened over the last decade. I mean, that's a major night and day.
This kid, guys, honestly, I really figured that I was going to get a phone call that he was in jail or that he was dead. And I'm not saying that lightly. I'm saying that I had to get my soul in a place of accepting the fact that he did not belong to me. He belonged to God. God had loaned him to me. And then in comes Jay, who was so solid and so I'm so impressed.
The transformation that he has had in his life, her son, the transformation that he has had was absolutely impacted by having Jay in his life.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. And he, to this day, will even say that Jay has truly taught him how a man is supposed to be a man and how a man is supposed to treat a woman. And I feel like I'm getting a lump in my throat because I've got 3 boys and they all adore Jay. Mm-hmm. And Jay is not their biological father. But Jay doesn't do anything to take away from their fathers and he doesn't try to take their place.
Yeah.
He basically, and this is kind of the posture that I've taken with Jay's girls, is that I'm not your mom, and we don't even have to be friends if you don't want to. I am married to your father, and I love him so much. That front door is always wide open for you to come in here, sleep, eat, let's cook together. I'm a great cook. I love to cook, and man, I love for my stepdaughter to come over and for us to cook. We made homemade spaghetti and meatballs one year for Christmas. And, you just have to give each other so much grace when you're blending a family in love. And if you love this person that you're with, you can show them how much you love them by loving their kids.
Yep. And by the way, this is a great time because I was thinking about this as you were saying it. If you are dating and your person, regardless if it's, if you're male or female, whoever you're dating, and they have children, this is a great time to observe what kind of parent they are.
Yep.
Because don't you think, never will it happen that somebody is a horrible parent to their children and then is going to turn around and be awesome to yours.
No.
That would if you have had experience in that department, I want to hear about it.
Well, you're putting blinders on if you think that.
I absolutely do not believe that could ever happen. So while you're dating,
being blinded by love, or
while
lust
you're
or
dating,
whatever.
While you're dating, and you know that you have kids, especially if you have children that have an absent parent. Right? If their parent isn't involved, if they maybe didn't have the greatest experience, or maybe you didn't have the greatest experience in your previous marriage or divorce and all of that, like, I really just think that this is an opportunity where you can correct all of those things. So if they maybe don't have a great biological parent, maybe pick someone that would give them the opportunity to be exposed to the things that their biological parent didn't expose them to that could make an impact in their life, which is what I think about what you just said.
Yep.
For sure. For a man or a woman, whichever, primarily men because women are watching this.
Right.
But for me.
Except Jay's watching it.
Jay's watching this. For me, I want a man. And my kids, their dad is very involved. Mm-hmm. He is. However, I still want a man that I can see will still bring something to add to their lives in a positive way.
Yep.
If you have children, just observe it. Just like we always say, we have an episode that is coming out soon or might be out already by the time this comes out, the one that is about spending time with somebody to decide if you want to spend more time. During that time that you're spending with somebody while you're dating, you need to be observing.
Yep.
And you need to be thinking about, how would this impact me? How would this impact my children? Is this a good direction? Is this bringing me closer to who I want to be? What kind of life I want? Who I want surrounding my children?
Yep.
If you're not doing those things while you're dating, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, I don't.
You're codependent. I don't know. You're not thinking clearly. You need to go get some counseling and get yourself whole so you can really map your way to love and understand. And that list needs to include not just you, but your children and what you want for them. You know, when Jay and I were early on and my son was young and, he had some behavioral issues, and I would want to leave because I didn't want Jay to see it. It was so bad. And one day Jay just grabbed me and he was like, I already know what's going on. You're not leaving. You're not sabotaging. We're going to do this. We're going to help this kid. This is temporary. And I tell Bette this all the time. This too shall pass. But man, when you're in the middle of it, it feels like you're in the middle of a cold, dark ocean. And you have no idea which way to swim to get to land because you're so far into it that it's overwhelming. But to make sure that you position yourself in a relationship where that person is going to partner with you. And God blessed me with Jay, honestly. I prayed, be bold in your prayers and be confident in your prayers. And remember that God is faithful. Mm-hmm. And he will deliver. If you do your part, God is going to deliver and bring you what you need. But the tricky part is that you have to just surrender.
You do. You have to surrender. And you know, you guys have heard me in all the episodes when we're talking about dating stories and we talk about the list and we talk about all that. I'm very clear of all the things that I want for myself. And I usually don't talk about this part, but in my list, there has always been a pretty significant section that includes my kids.
Oh, yeah.
That includes what I
yeah.
want for them, who I want for them, what kind of person, what kind of, involvement or contribution, right? Because if it is not adding, if I say the same thing, we always talk about this. I'd rather be single forever than to get myself involved in a situation that doesn't work for me. But I feel the same way about my kids when I think about, I will not marry anybody. I will not marry anybody that I don't believe would be loving and a really great addition to our family. Because it's honestly, it's not worth it. You just multiply your issues. You give yourself a bigger headache. I'm just not interested.
Well, then you're going to wake up one day in the middle of the night and you're going to realize that you are back in the same situation again. You're in a position where you've got to get out. And it's better to watch for those signs before you get married, and don't do it because you don't want to get a divorce. Divorce isn't good for anybody.
No, and it's not just you anymore.
No, it sucks. And it's awful. Even if you're getting a divorce from someone who's not your children's biological parent, it's another breakdown of the home. And again, I'm speaking from multiple times of experience in doing this. Yep. And just don't do it.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw in a story now, and this is not a good story. This is a I think it's a really sad story. But this is about.
Have I heard it already? I'm sure. I have. Yeah.
You know this person, so no names will be mentioned. But so we know somebody who has a child. Okay, a teenage child, maybe a little older now, but I don't even want to say what gender they are. Yeah. But a teenage child, and so. The biological parents divorced. We know one of them, right? And both of them decided to get into relationships with other people. The one over here had 3 children, got into a relationship with somebody that had 3 children. Follow along. So basically, essentially blending this one child into 3 from the other side. And then on this other side, this person also got involved with somebody who had 3 children. So you have this one child whose parents got involved with 3 children over here and 3 children over here. Now we're up to 7. This one child is the one having to experience all of this, right?
Yeah. It's a lot. Think about that.
Yes, think about that. So the problem comes in. It's so sad. It's heartbreaking. So one side of the equation over here, this child did not like this new bonus parent that they were getting. Did not like them. Did not feel like they were a good person. Did not feel like, didn't really want to be a part of that, right? But their mom did. Their mom decided that she felt like she wanted to. So here is this kid not liking this over here at all.
And has to go by default.
And has to go by default, right? Did not want to be a part of this. And then here's the other side of the equation where this one actually felt like, okay, I can do this. I have some new bonus siblings, and I think we can get along really well.
Great bonus parent.
Yep, great bonus parent.
Okay.
But here's what happened. Here's the sad part. The sad part is that a few years later, the good relationship over here that they wanted to be a part of, this relationship did not work out.
Oh, no.
And they got divorced and didn't tell the child. Basically, they moved out, the kids were gone, and really didn't.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
I know, but really didn't even. I'll tell you, you do know, didn't even communicate it. It's like, okay, so you tell this kid that they're gonna now be thrown into all this stuff, and then you rip the carpet, the rug from out underneath them, and the side that they wanted to be involved with, they literally
What
lost.
happened?
They missed out on their step parent that was actually a really good parent. They now had 3 siblings that they loved, that they got attached to, that
We're gone.
are gone now.
Yep.
Are gone. And then you have the other side that they don't want.
Yeah.
That they don't want, that's negative, that isn't a good place for them. That this is where I say, yes, I understand that you as the parent are supposed to make the decisions, and maybe your kids won't agree with everything, but you do have to look at life through their eyes and what you're throwing on them.
Well, I want to tell you something, that your kids can be very good barometers on if a relationship is good or not, and if you will listen to them, they're right.
Yeah.
My eldest son, he would just say, I don't like him.
Yeah.
And if I would have listened to him.
Well, he was right.
He was right. And here's the other, they're kind of like your board of directors. You've got your friends, your mom, your sister, your cousins, whoever, that is very important for you to have when you're getting into a new relationship with someone, for them to also start to get to know this person before you bring them into your home as a, substantial part of your kids' lives and yours. If they say, you need to listen to that.
Yes.
And your kids are maybe even better than those people at recognizing.
Yep.
They sense it.
Well, yes, and they're spending time with them at the same time that you are, but they don't have their emotions all wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
So they're not kind of blinded by it. They're just feeling like, does this feel good? Does this feel safe? Do I want to be a part of this? And you have to give them the opportunity to express their emotion.
And it took my kids a while to warm up to Jay, because I had already drugged them through so much that they were like, I don't think I want to get involved in this. And I can tell you that it's really selfish and unfair to put your kids in a situation. I did it. And it can be all over with and things can be hunky-dory, but there is still a wake of destruction and fallout behind us that we still deal with. And there's a place inside of me that's pain that I can't ever, it's the thorn in my side.
Yeah.
It's like Paul putting the thorn in his side. It was the reminder of what life looks like when you're being stupid and ignoring the red flags and choosing to put them under the rug and pretend like you're so special that you can make this work. You're not. Go find somebody where it's not so hard.
Yep. And that brings up another story. So we know another person that we used to work with, and she was telling me a story about her mom when her mom was dating and she was in her teen years. Now, we know her now and she's in her 30s now, but back when she was a teenager and her mom was dating post her parents' divorce, and there was a guy that she was dating, that her mom was dating, and they loved each other. They loved each other. They wanted to be together, but his children were hellions, and they seriously, like, they would not, all they wanted to do was make her life harder. The girl, she was the girlfriend, right? And she had a couple kids of her own. And she thought she wanted to marry this guy. But after spending some time together, I think it was a couple years, with the guy, she's like, I'm not putting my kids in this situation. Clearly, your kids
Did she have an engagement ring?
I don't know if she had an engagement ring, but they broke up. They ended up breaking up. But here's what happened. Here's the funny part. So just like you're saying, don't force it.
No.
If the kids, they didn't want to have anything to do with her. And I think maybe they were probably just hurt because they didn't want the divorce with the parents. And, kids go through their own stuff.
Kids also feel, I think, a little bit guilty if they like the other person.
Yes.
They feel a guilt towards their mom or their dad, and you just have to reassure them that you're not there to replace anybody at all, and you will work to get along great with their other parent. And I mean, sometimes you can and sometimes you can't.
Right.
But, the other person has to be willing to do that too. But it's possible. And you're blending. And that doesn't just include you and your husband, his kids. That includes everybody.
That includes everybody.
Everybody. Even the exes.
So let me tell you what ended up happening. So after dating for a couple years, and this lady, this is our friend's mother. She's like, this is not going to work out. She loved the guy, but she's like, there is no way that I'm going to put my kids in this situation, and clearly your kids don't want me. So they broke up. They went their separate ways. They married other people. Yeah. This is years later. And what ended up happening was those kids, the ones that were hell on wheels, the ones that broke them up, and they actually loved each other, when they got older, they actually called her and apologized. Because they realized that she was a good woman, and they realized that they caused the breakup, and they caused their dad to be unhappy, and it could have been a great thing for them, but they got in their own way. Yeah. This could have been a great future for them too, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out.
But still, they saved themselves a lot of years of agony. And, Jay and I have truly, again, I always say, once you get married and you're in this blended family, be sure that you put a bubble of protection around your marriage. And that bubble of protection is God and God's word, and good communication and trust and respect and letting each other be who you are. But put that around you, because you're going to need it.
Yep.
You're going to need it, because those kids, man, they let you have it.
Yeah, and by the way, you just said something right now that I also think is really, really important. Because I talk about my ex and I have a good co-parenting relationship, and actually we were having a conversation the other day, and what you just said is so important, because not only are you bringing somebody else into your life, but they're going to be involved in every part of yours also. And what you just said includes the exes. Yep. That includes the exes, whether it's good or bad. Yep. And so you have to talk about that and prepare the other person, just like, sometimes you have some situations that you yourself don't even want to deal with, but you can't make the decision on whether or not you want to handle it on your own if you're involving somebody else and you want to get married. Like, they're in it too. Yep, so they have to know the full picture of what they're signing up for. And so that's the conversation that we were having. He's dating, I'm dating. Yeah. And that means him too. Yeah. That means that they're going to have to meet
whoever
him.
He's bringing in. I mean, you just have to really think about it. I wish that I could just really share my story with you guys, but I can't because I might get sued.
Well, we have shared all that we can share, and of course, bits and pieces here and there. But of course, we don't talk about any names.
Nope.
There are some sensitive things, and in the future, we will have the opportunity to share. It will be a little bit more on offline, kind of setting where
we're
have
super excited.
Small. Yeah, we are working on something that would allow us to have even more conversation that is much more specific to situations, where we could talk more about ours, but also help dive into yours and offer some guidance and some support. But all of that is really going to be happening offline.
Yep. And I'm excited about that part because we were just talking the other day, and Jay also is involved in some of this, and he's like excited for Betty and I to get a little bit meatier. He wants a New York strip set in here, an 8 ounce. But there's just some things that we're not going to openly discuss on this channel, but when we do the rollout of phase 2, we can get down to some more nitty-gritty stuff.
Yeah.
And there are some things that I just will highly encourage you to get the heck away from.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're in a situation and you tell me something and it's bad, I'm going to say you need to leave them now.
Yeah. Yeah,
especially if you're not married. Even if you are married, I was in a situation.
Absolutely.
Where
even if they are married.
I was going to see a Christian counselor, and this horrible stuff was going on that me and my kids were being exposed to and getting hurt. And they were like, well, you've made a commitment. You've got to stay there.
That is
God,
ridiculous.
my God that loves me. I'm his daughter, and he does not want me to be treated that way.
Any form of abuse for me is an absolute deal breaker.
No.
I don't care at all about the commitment that you made. And I said this on a different episode too, I think. The commitment that you made to that person to love each other, to protect each other, to honor each other, and all of that. If I need protection from my spouse, we have a problem.
Yeah, and if my children need protection from my spouse, we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So any form of abuse for me is a no-go.
Yeah. That went by fast.
Okay, well, we have more to come. We're super excited. We will share more details. We are finalizing some of the details ourselves, and once we are ready, we will be sharing that and letting y'all know about our next phase.
Yep, it's exciting.
Yeah. So this is what I want to hear for y'all to put in the comment section. If you have been in a blended, if you have blended a family and it went extremely well, we want to hear your tips on that. If you tried blending a family and it didn't go well, I want to hear what the breakdown was.
And if you're in a relationship and you're concerned, we want to hear that too.
We want to hear about that too, because I mean, sometimes really, we talk about this all the time, the whole board of director thing. You do need outside assistance to help you get some clarity. When you are in it, when you are elbow deep or eye deep in the muck of it all, it is really difficult to figure out what is the next thing that I should be doing. If you can surround yourself with people that love you and support you and want the best thing for you, and all they want to do is raise you up, you have to have the right people around you, first of all, in order to get the right advice and the right support, because it's not going to be just anybody.
Right.
It has to be the right people.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get ourselves into situations and we get so deep into it that we feel embarrassed about ending it. If it needs to be ended.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you've gotten engaged and there are some things that are showing up that you already saw. I'm certain of it if you've given it the time that it needed, but now it's escalating, and those scenarios do escalate the deeper into a relationship you get. But if you haven't walked down the aisle yet, get out.
It's not too late.
It's not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I actually have a friend. I'm going to end with this. I have a friend who literally just had this conversation, who she is dating a guy, and she doesn't have any kids. Okay, she doesn't have any kids. She's very young, and she can still have kids and wants them.
Okay.
But she doesn't currently have any kids. He has a couple of kids, and they've been dating now.
Does he want more kids?
Well, here's where the issue is. They have been, I think it's been maybe like a year and a half, and they have been talking wedding, marriage, family, blending, all of that stuff. Now, the issue comes in that there are some significant issues.
Uh-oh.
And
Did you tell her to get out?
Yes.
Good.
Everything that she has told me about him is nice and all. But no amount of nice and all is going to work for me when you're going to inherit all of that. And so we had this conversation, and she said to me, she's like, I called you because I knew you would tell me the truth.
Nice.
And this is true. I tell people the truth, even if it's something that
they don't want to hear.
Even if it's something that they don't want to hear, because I believe that not telling the truth is not kind and loving.
It's not.
If I love you, if I want the best for you in your life, I'm going to tell you the truth, even if it's going to sting for a minute. I'm going to tell you the truth. So she and I just had this whole conversation, and she said, this is how I've been feeling, and I want to know what you think, because I know you'll tell me the truth. And I told her, end it now. End it now.
Get out, run.
Get out. Because here's the issue. Not only is she young, she is vibrant, she has this whole world ahead of her. She can do anything she wants in her life because she's young, she's child-free, and she really has... she's such a hard worker. She has an amazing work ethic. This girl can do anything. So I love her.
Don't saddle yourself up to a nightmare.
I love her, and I see her doing, she could do anything that she wants in her life. And we talk about this all the time. When you're in your 20s or your early 30s and you're not married and you don't have any kids, my God, you can do anything. So don't screw it up. Don't put yourself in a situation that was going to take you backwards.
Jay has said this to my boys, and it applies to girls too. There's a window in your life where you are making some money. You are footloose and fancy free.
Yep.
Enjoy
That's her.
phase where you don't have any responsibility except for yourself.
That's her right now.
Because it's a very short window.
Yep.
Especially if you're going to marry somebody that's already got a couple of kids and then you want more, things are going to get big and heavy in a quick.
And here's the problem. Here's the problem, because the conversation of adding kids, she hasn't had any yet.
Right.
She hasn't had the opportunity to have this experience of what this phase looks like when you have babies together, and you are, when you marry someone and neither one has kids and you start having kids together, there's so much that happens in that kind of adventure, in that unfolding of a new chapter of your life. So when you marry somebody that already has a couple kids and you still want this experience for yourself, I feel like you're gypped.
Yeah.
I feel like you're gypped personally, which is why I also never wanted to marry anyone that had kids, because you feel gypped. I feel like I want all my first.
But early.
Early. When
Now
I'm talking,
you- now
well,
she
now it's
want-
different. No,
yeah.
I'm talking about when I was child free.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I didn't want to marry somebody that already had kids. Right. For me, I wanted all of my first and his first. I wanted them to be aligned.
Right.
I wanted us to really figure it out and grow up together, right?
Well, and you can kind of do that again now
Right.
with your kids and his kids, but you've got to be aligned.
Equal.
Yeah, they've got to
yes.
know what the heck you're.
Yes, if
Jay
he has a couple kids and I have
Yeah.
a couple kids, and now this is our chapter 2, and we're both doing chapter 2. That's awesome.
That was something that was so incredible about me and Jay when we met. I've got a kid with special needs, and he's got a kid with special needs, and it's like that's a whole different language that only a person with special needs kids can speak. And so now when my kid does something weird, I don't have to explain it to Jay. He understands it. When his kid does something that's special needs, I speak that language.
Yep.
And so I'm not ever looking at him or he's not looking at me going, make them stop doing that.
Right.
We know that you can't make them stop doing it. It's just who they are.
Which would be so unfair. That's the other thing to look
Right.
at. Like if you can't accept the whole package as it is right now, walk away from it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Find your person. It's okay. Yeah. This is the whole purpose of spending time with people and knowing what you want and having your list. If it, because I'm telling you, love is not enough.
No.
Liking someone and thinking that they're cute and, wanting to just like, oh, let's get married and let's move in together and it'll all be fairy tales and butterflies. No. love it's not enough. Now, if you're not standing next to somebody that has the same level of commitment to being there side by side,
all in
through it all
in,
but like really, like all in, then
even
God, it's not
when
worth it.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
When it's real ugly.
Yeah.
I'm talking when cops are called in.
Yeah.
Ugly. So, and they just walk over to you and they hold you.
But again,
and let you cry.
Again, have these conversations beforehand.
Yep.
Do not put this stuff like on the back burner. That is the priority. Those are the conversations.
Don't fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah,
on this.
we've said this before too. Like whatever the ugly is, whatever the scary stuff is, whatever your fears are, that's the stuff to throw out first.
Yeah,
that's the stuff to talk about. That's what you guys did. You guys had to talk about all that stuff. I think it was your first date. You guys were talking about all that.
Interview.
Yeah, because this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about like rainbows and butterflies.
No.
We're talking about real life.
Yeah, I'm not sitting there going, I'm going to bring you coffee in bed and rub your feet.
Yeah.
This is, I've got a special
Although I
needs
do want you
kid.
to bring me coffee
yes,
in bed
and rub my feet. Yes,
Although I
and
do
draw
want
my
that.
back.
And I will do the same. But aside from that, no, but real life. What's really going on in this life, in your life, that you want to like.
They need
if
to
you
know.
Want me to hitch my wagon,
Yeah.
you want me to hitch my wagon onto it, I need to know what all is involved. And by the way, it is my right to choose, right? I should know everything that's going on, and then I'll decide. Jay decided. Mm-hmm. He knew. You told him all the ugly.
I decided.
And but he decided that he wanted to stay and wanted to be a part of it.
Let me tell you, there were so many things that happened in the 3-4 years that we were dating before we got married. And even now, I sometimes will look at Jay and I'll say, I have no idea why you stayed with me. And he just hugs me and he tells me it's because I love you.
Aw, he's the sweetest.
And I love him. So anyway,
yeah.
Yesterday he was sitting there talking about, he was like, I just appreciate the nice things that you say about me. And I'm like, it's not lip service. It's my truth about him. And he deserves the edification because he is a spectacular human.
He's a really good man. I mean, I talk about Jay as much as she does. I say great things about Jay. He's a really, really good guy.
Yeah. I'm lucky. So anyway, we got to wrap this up.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up. I'm about to cough. Hold on. Excuse me. Comment section below. So go ahead and put your comments in. Yep. Subscribe. Put your comments in, feedback, any topics that you want us to cover. And thank you so much for spending a part of your day with us. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.